parking lot, and before Michael even takes the keys out of the steering wheel, he puts the shades down, he turns on his music. Here's old Tex, and now he's...
Real tomato ketchup, Eddie? You know nothing but the best.
He's cooking for us. And old Gigi and I, we're going to go in the Walmart to look for a... So here we are in Destin, Florida at the Walmart. Right across the street from the beach in Destin, Florida. And we're breaking all the rules. Michael's down here changing our generator filter and oil for the first time.
Hey guys.
We've driven all the way from Phoenix, and we're finally in Florida going to change our generator. What are you, just changing the filter and the oil?
Yeah, changing the oil.
But it is like, what, 6 o'clock in the morning? We have our coffee
Yeah, like 6:30.
in the Walmart parking lot, and it's like 60 degrees. It's December something. I have no idea really. I think it's December 12th. So right now we are on the move. We just spent 5 weeks in Texas, and now we are headed to Tampa. So because we're on the move, we're staying at Walmart's, and it's pretty messy in here. We have our shoe pile, and the slides are in, of course, so it makes everything a bit more narrow. We've got all of our electronics and the kids' school stuff, and our cup holder, and our Berkey, which we put in the sink while we're driving, and we still have our aloe vera plant, Orangey, from our good friend Shamira in Arizona, still alive. He survived the freeze of Galveston this year. Our coffee maker, so of course you have to turn on the generator to make coffee, which is not very good etiquette in the Walmart parking lot, so we just turn on the generator in the morning for a minute, and then we can also get our electric heat going. Of course, he has the generator off now. So we've been RVing for 6 weeks now, almost 7. We bought our RV on October 18th, and then that following week, on October 27th, we spent 1 week in Arizona at our RV park right by our house while we got our house ready for sale, and we got used to using our RV and figuring everything out. And I thought that choosing the insurance and warranty for an RV was the hardest part, which I can make a whole nother video about that, and choosing where to domicile, choosing what state you're going to be a resident, and getting set up that way, which I can make a whole nother video on that for people like myself who had no clue how to do any of these things. Figuring it out is a journey and a process, and I thought that was the hardest part. But the hardest part of this whole journey has been moving out of our house. I mean, if you look underneath the kitchen sink, underneath that bathroom sink, and every single drawer, every single nook and cranny, cupboard and closet in your house, all of that has to be gone. You either have to put it in storage, get rid of it, or bring it on your RV. And you cannot bring everything on your RV, obviously. So your storage unit's only so big, and that stuff just takes so much time to go through. That was really the hardest part of this whole thing, was that last week moving out of our house. But then November 4th, we hit the road, we got on our way, and we went straight to Livingston, Texas, to Polk County, which was amazing. We had joined the Escapee RV club there, and that way they can deal with our mail. I think it's like $95 a year that they're gonna handle our mail, which is really great because they give us an address, and then all of our mail goes there, and then wherever we are, we can just call them and have them mail our mail to us. You can also decide if something is just junk mail or you don't need it, they can throw it away for you, or you can even join their, they have a scanning program. I think it's $10 extra a month where they can scan your mail, and that way you can look at it and say, oh, that's junk, or yeah, I need that. You can also, if you have something important, you can just have it priority mailed straight to you, which has been amazing. All of these RV parks allow you to have your mail sent to you, so that's been easy. Right now we're staying in Walmarts because we're on the move, and we're not really staying in one place for very long. We're driving right now from Galveston to Tampa or Orlando, whichever one we choose to stay at. And at that time, we'll set up at another RV park for 2 weeks or a month. It's much cheaper when you stay longer instead of just one night. Can be $50 to $100 on these beach cities. So staying 2 weeks to a month makes it a much cheaper, plus it includes your utilities and all of that stuff. So we just stay at Walmart's while we're driving. It makes it much easier. And then you can just find beach parking along the way. So when we got to Polk County, we stayed for 1 week there in Livingston. And then we went down to Galveston and we stayed 4 weeks, and we loved Galveston at the Stella Mar RV Resort. It was amazing. The people that run the Stella Mar that work there, they are beyond amazing. It was a huge blessing for us to be there. All the people that were there and all of our neighbors were just amazing. It was really hard to leave, and we thought about staying, but you can't just keep staying in one place. I'm sure we can be complacent and just keep staying, but we need to move on and see the rest of the country. We plan on staying in Florida until the end of February. We don't want to be here for spring break. But we need to wait for the freeze to end before we head up the East Coast, which is crazy because we actually just had a freeze in Galveston. We were there and it snowed in Galveston. We drove through Louisiana, there was snow, and then we made it to Alabama. Yesterday we spent the whole day in Alabama. That has been one of our favorite places so far, the Gulf State Park in Alabama, and we could have stayed there a really long time, but we were just there 2 days and 1 night. Right now we're in Destin. We're going to see Panama City, and then we're heading into Clearwater, Florida, which I'm very excited about. And so we'll be in Florida till February. When we started this journey, the biggest question to us was, what are you scared about, or what stresses you out about this? And I think Michael, of course, was mostly stressed out about our weight, which is one of my top 3 stresses starting this journey was weight, because your tire pressure, blowing a tire, getting in a wreck somehow, that's obviously very scary because RVs are not very safe. They don't have airbags, I mean, as far as traveling with your children. So I try to make sure that they're in their seatbelts while we're driving. They can sit in the front seat because there are no airbags, as long as they can be properly in the seatbelt, of course. So anyway, that's been one of our biggest stresses, but we weighed ourselves and we distributed the weight properly before we left. And then obviously when we're driving, we don't ever have like a full tank of gas or our water. We usually have about 30% on our water just to get us through a few nights. And then you can always, the best thing to do is to get the Allstay app. That has been, I don't know how people RV without the Allstay app. Because the app shows you exactly how far away you are from any gas station, and then you click on the gas station on the map. It's just like Google Maps. You click on the gas station and it'll tell you all the amenities. If they have water, if they have hookups, if they have dump stations, and then it shows you all of the RV resorts along the way. You can get directly on their websites, and it shows you all the Walmarts that you can stay at. Also Cabela's, you can stay there and utilize their amenities at Cabela's along the way, but there are not as many Cabela's as there are Walmarts, so that's why we usually just stay at Walmart, which is a love-hate thing because I'm not the hugest fan of Walmart, but we sure do appreciate the hospitality, and some Walmarts are very nice in different parts of the country, so they're not all the same as the Walmarts that we're used to. We've been to some very nice Walmarts. My other 2 top stresses were the kids injuring themselves at these RV parks with the slides. Elijah is exactly the right height to just ram his head into all the slides. The slide outs on all these RVs, they come out, and if people don't have pool noodles or something on the edge of their slide outs, they're very sharp. They have very sharp edges, and he is just the exact height to run underneath of them, and he's hit himself in the head so many times. All the doors on our bays underneath, every time they want to get into their toys or anything underneath there in the cargo bins, those doors slam, and they're heavy and they're metal. I'm just so afraid of their fingers getting pinched. I don't know. I'm just a mom, and I just worry about the kids getting injured at the RV parks. I don't know. They're just not, I'm sure once we get used to it, they'll learn all of the different ways to maneuver around the RVs and the different things, but it's just worrisome. But my top number one thing that I am afraid of on this trip are ticks and Lyme disease. That is my number one fear. We go to all of these forest areas and there's just stuff falling out of the trees, and little critters and spiders and things are not that scary. Even alligators are a concern in the Gulf, but I'm mostly afraid of Lyme disease. So I do tick checks often, and I have brought along my doTERRA Shield, this outdoor blend. And I also researched ticks up in Erie when we were up in Erie in Minnesota, and I found that a lot of researchers will tell you that have researched the ticks, deer ticks that have Lyme disease, they hate clove and they hate peppermint. So just mixing some clove and peppermint and some coconut oil and rubbing them down with that every once in a while when we're in the woods, obviously, not so much worried about it on the beach. But that was my number one thing. I know that's weird, but that was my number one concern. And then things that I have learned that I was not aware that was going to happen was the amount of sun that we get. We are constantly outside. You're outside all the time, and if you're not outside, you're pretty close to a window in your RV. You're always near the outside. So I didn't think about how much sun we were getting, and just don't want to start looking old. I feel like we're already getting these sunspots. So I have found this Mineral Fusion. It's a moisturizer. So comes out white, but once you rub it in, you don't see. It doesn't leave the white streaks, but that has been amazing. Another thing to keep us healthy on the go is our On Guard, doTERRA On Guard, which I like the roller. So I roll it on the kids' feet, on their spines, underneath their noses. If we've been around a lot of people that are sick, or if we're going somewhere where there's going to be a lot of people, or just I start hearing the sniffles, I immediately get On Guard and we start using that. Also, Elijah gets a lot of bug bites, and they bother him really bad. They swell up, and none of the rest of us don't really get bothered by bugs as much, but Elijah always has welts from bug bites. And so I found this at Sprouts before we left. It's a homeopathic anti-itch cream. It stops stings, pains, redness, bites, stings, itches. It's insect gel, so that immediately stops his itching, and that's worked really well for coming along. Also for cleaning in our RV, I don't like to clean with chemicals, and I don't really like chemicals in general for anything. Plus Elijah gets very allergic to certain chemicals, especially in sunscreen. But we have our 2 spray bottles that we use. This one is half white vinegar and water. We spray down the kitchen, the sink, the dishes, straws, and then I have my 91% alcohol. I'm weird. I'm an OCD clean freak, germaphobe. So I love my 91% alcohol, and I spray everything down with it when I need to. And the last 3 things that I didn't really think about, or I never knew about RVing, one is, took me a while to even tell anybody this, especially Michael, is that I get seasick. I think this thing is always in motion, especially if there's wind, and in Galveston there was like 20-mile-an-hour winds. And so this thing's just always moving and shaking and rocking. I mean, there are times when you get it really nice and level and you don't really notice the movement as much, but I just feel seasick sometimes, and it makes me nauseous. And I remember our first 3 days, right when we got the RV, we parked at the RV resort, and then we went home for the week to kind of get things cleaned up and ready for sale. And during that week, it took me a few days to just get my feet back on the ground and feel like I was stable and not sick anymore. But I didn't want to tell anyone that because I'm going off on this adventure and I'm going to be seasick. I really thought I was going to have to get myself some medication because I was so sick. I just felt nauseous. It's like being seasick or being on an airplane constantly. Sometimes you just want to get off the plane and go to the hotel. And just being on a plane sometimes, that constant motion, it's the same thing RVing for me. I did feel pretty nauseous and seasick at first, but I think that's pretty much past, or I've just gotten used to always constantly being in motion. And the second thing is that everything is going to take so much longer to do because you're constantly talking to people. I mean, just going to do your laundry or just going outside to close things up and button up and get on the move. People come out and they start talking to you, even when we want to get a good sunset view with our drone, or just go out and take some pictures, or just go somewhere with the kids. People are constantly coming out talking to you, and it takes forever to do anything because you're constantly having all of these conversations. But every single person that we have met has been over the top amazing, nice to us. And so you want to have these conversations. You want to talk to people, especially when they've been full-time RVing for 45 years. You want to hear all of their stories. You want to just soak up all the knowledge and everything they have to tell you. And so you could seriously end up having like these hour or two conversations with people, and that's it. There goes your evening. Everything that you had planned to do, you spend it talking. Or when you want to get going and you want to get out of the RV resort and you're trying to hurry up and get to your next destination, people are out talk. Oh, what kind of rig do you have? And what's that car you're pulling? And how did you decide to pull the car with that? And how much did that cost? And it's great conversation because then you're getting more information from them too, but it can really set you back several hours. And the third thing was the toilet paper situation. So here's the thing. When you have an RV and you have that black tank, you cannot just use your regular Charmin toilet paper that we had stocked up on from Costco. That will clog up your whole tank. You have to use RV, aquamarine, whatever kind of toilet paper that's going to break down quickly and not clog up your tank. Oh, that's so gross, and it can be expensive, and it's just not that fun. Or what some RVers do is you can use your regular toilet paper and then just throw it in the trash can, which I also find to be disgusting. So I'm still kind of on the fence. I still use regular RV toilet paper because we have a little girl in the house and I don't want her to start getting, I don't want to teach her to wipe and put it in a trash can. I don't know, I'm just kind of weird about that. So we still get the aquamarine toilet paper so that it's safe for our tank and the kids can use it when they need that. We also have our baby wipes in there that we put in the trash can if you need to use that. But sometimes we just try to put the toilet paper in the trash can, but I don't know. I haven't quite 100% switched over to using the toilet paper in the trash can. I don't know, this kind of grosses me out. But the RV toilet paper, I don't know. I think at some point I'll probably get like a baby disposal trash can that will fit next to the toilet, and I'll probably get my regular Charmin back and use regular toilet paper and put it in that like diaper disposal trash can next to the toilet. That might be the best for everybody, but we haven't quite switched over to that yet. We are still figuring things out and still kind of figuring out how to use our RV, of course, and just all of this is so new to us. Every day is a new thing, trying to figure everything out. We're learning, and it's been fun, and we are making ourselves enjoy every moment of the adventure. And there are days when I feel like all I do is laundry and dishes and homeschooling. When we're across the street from the beach, I just want to go to the beach. Who wants to do all that stuff? But it's been an amazing adventure, and I think we're all really loving it. And even the hard parts are fun learning experiences. And like my Uncle Orly says, every crazy rough moment makes for a good memory and something to laugh at along the way. So if you didn't have those times, you would have nothing to laugh at or talk about. So everything's going well. We are loving our journey, and we are going to go enjoy Destin and Panama City today, and then we're going to hit the road and head down to Clearwater Beach, Florida, which I'm really excited about, and the kids are excited to go see Winter and Hope. So let the adventure continue. Sunscreen that I finally found. Elijah is allergic to so many chemicals in sunscreens, and he just turns bright red and gets blotches and his eyes really puff up, and so I have to use chemical-free sunscreens, and this has been my favorite so far because it doesn't leave all that white streaking. They don't mind it. You can shake it and spray it, and it works really well. And here are the ingredients. Here's the moisturizer that I found. is something that I take almost every day. It tastes totally disgusting when you first take it. You feel like you might have been poisoned, but it is so, I think it really, really, it can heal anything, I believe. I personally love it. Shake it up, take a little squirt every single day, and I think it keeps you healthy and it keeps things at bay. Think about olive leaf. Don't you love it and you like to take olive leaf every single day?
No. Never take it. Never do it. You will never forgive yourself.
It tastes so good, olive leaf.
You will never forgive yourself if you have olive leaf. Never. You will never forgive yourself. So gross.
No.
Yes. It's
Elijah,
disgusting.
you like olive leaf?
No.
Elijah, you want some olive leaf?
It's gross.
Tell me. Do you really like olive leaf?
No.
Every day you're like, can I please have some olive leaf,
No,
Mom?
I hate it.
I feel like I might be getting the sniffles.
He hates it. I don't like it.
You don't like olive leaf?
Ah!